We all know Starbucks to be an icon when it comes to making delectable coffee. But that doesn't mean it hasn't had its fair share of epic failures. From daring expansions gone wrong in Australia, Vietnam, and Italy, to their wild olive oil coffee experiment that turned out to be more oil spill than flavor thrill, we'll leave no coffee bean unturned in this video. Join us as we dive deep into Starbucks' tumultuous journey, exposing its monumental failures that shook the coffee giant to its core. But before we get started, let's take a trip down memory lane to Starbucks' humble beginnings to understand how it quickly transformed into the controversial coffee giant we know today. Starbucks is a name synonymous with premium coffee and cozy cafe experience. They started with a single store in Seattle, Washington in 1971 when three friends, Jerry Baldwin, Zev Segal, and Gordon Boker, opened the first Starbucks store in Seattle's Pike Place Market. The store focused on selling fresh roasted coffee beans, tea, and spices from around the world. In 1982, Howard Schultz, a marketing executive, joined the company. Schultz was inspired by the cafe culture during a trip to Milan, Italy in 1983, and he envisioned a similar experience in Starbucks stores. In 1987, Schultz acquired Starbucks with the help of investors. Under his leadership, Starbucks underwent rapid expansion, opening numerous stores across the United States. And in June 1992, the company went public with its initial public offering, IPO, raising funds for further growth. Soon, Starbucks became synonymous with the coffee house experience in America, providing not just high-quality coffee, but also a welcoming ambiance and exceptional customer service. Starbucks began its global expansion in the late 1990s by opening its first international store in Tokyo, Japan in 1996. This marked the beginning of Starbucks' global presence, and the company expanded further by acquiring Tazo Tea in 1999 and introducing specialty beverages like the Frappuccino blended beverages. Starbucks' ubiquity and consistent quality contributed to its widespread success. Today, Starbucks remains a global coffee powerhouse with more than 32,000 stores in 80 countries, as it continues to shape the coffee experience worldwide. While Starbucks certainly achieved remarkable success, it's hard to ignore some significant failures. Who could have imagined that the mighty coffee giant would stumble so badly in the land down under? When Starbucks entered Australia in the year 2000, they were met with puzzled looks from the coffee-loving Aussies. You see, Australians have an unwavering love affair with coffee, favoring the strong flavors of espresso. They take their coffee seriously, like a secret society with a sacred caffeine ritual. So when Starbucks arrived, flaunting their whipped cream toppings and syrupy concoctions, the Aussies were not having it. To make matters worse, Australia was already a battlefield of coffee competition. Local cafes and independent roasters dotted the streets, serving up expertly brewed cups of Java. These were masters of the coffee craft, wielding their espresso machines with finesse. And Starbucks, with its standardized menu and corporate feel, struggled to stand out in the sea of unique and artisanal coffee experiences. And let's not forget about the price tag. Australians are known for their laid-back nature, but when it comes to coffee, they're as serious as a kangaroo in a boxing match. They expect quality, but at an affordable price. Starbucks, on the other hand, positioned itself as a premium brand, charging a few extra dollars for its coffee. This didn't sit well with the Aussies, and in its first 7 years in Australia, Starbucks accumulated a whopping $105 million in losses. Despite their efforts to adapt and rectify the situation, Starbucks found itself in a tighter corner. By 2008, Starbucks had opened 87 locations in Australia, averaging about 11 openings per year. Unfortunately, this rapid expansion surpassed the natural growth of Starbucks' popularity in the country. They rushed in and expanded too fast, not allowing the Australian consumer enough time to truly develop a taste for the Starbucks brand, prompting Starbucks to close over 2/3 of its stores on the continent in 2008. Just like Australia, Vietnam boasts a coffee culture that is distinct and captivating. The country's love affair with coffee dates back to the French colonial era when coffee was introduced to Vietnam. Since then, coffee has become an integral part of Vietnamese daily life and social interactions. With its production of about 1,650,000 metric tons of coffee in 2016 alone, Vietnam earned the title of being the second largest producer of coffee in the world. Traditional Vietnamese coffee is often brewed using a small metal drip filter called a phin, resulting in a strong, delicious cup of coffee. As Starbucks entered Vietnam in 2013, it faced the challenge of competing with thousands of local coffee establishments that had already captured the hearts of the Vietnamese people. Many family-owned street-side cafes adorned every corner. These cafes showcased the art of slow drip brewing, using condensed milk to create a sweet and robust concoction that delighted the taste buds of the locals. So, Starbucks struggled to resonate with Vietnamese coffee enthusiasts. Another reason for Starbucks' epic failure in Vietnam is its use of Arabica beans. Vietnam has stronger beans called Robusta. Starbucks' Arabica beans contain up to 1.5% caffeine, while Robusta beans contain a whopping 2.7% caffeine content. This means that Vietnamese customers are accustomed to a more potent brew, delivering the energy boost they crave with every sip. Also, the introduction of frappuccinos and flavored lattes seemed foreign and disconnected from the essence of Vietnamese coffee culture, where simplicity and authenticity reign supreme. Once again, Starbucks' pricing didn't help matters, as its premium pricing positioned it as a luxury brand in a market where coffee is viewed as a cheap daily necessity and a communal experience that's usually less than $1. Despite these obstacles, Starbucks made efforts to adapt to the local market by introducing localized menu items like the Vietnamese cold brew and incorporating elements of Vietnamese coffee culture. However, Starbucks' connection with Vietnamese coffee lovers remained elusive, as the deep-rooted traditions and authentic local experiences continued to dominate the hearts and palates of the people. With popular options like egg coffee, Vietnamese yogurt coffee, blackbird coffee, milk coffee, Vina Cafe, and other unique preparations, Vietnam already offered a wide range of coffee varieties that Starbucks' American coffee style simply couldn't compete with. As a result, Starbucks made the decision to close most of its stores in Vietnam in 2021. According to some critics, Starbucks selling coffee in Vietnam is like Pizza Hut trying to sell pizza in Italy. As if the lessons from Australia and Vietnam aren't enough, Starbucks made a bold move to enter Italy in 2018 by opening its first store in Milan. The city, known for its rich coffee heritage and historic cafes, seemed like the perfect playground for Starbucks. As the Italians sipped their traditional espresso shots and savored the art of coffee making, Starbucks found itself facing a cultural Goliath. Italy's coffee culture is deeply ingrained in its social fabric. Coffee isn't just a beverage, it's a way of life. Italians cherish the rituals and traditions associated with coffee, from standing at the bar to enjoy a quick espresso shot to engaging in lively conversations over a cup of cafe macchiato. Coffee drinking in Italy is an intimate experience that fosters great connection, unlike Starbucks, which viewed coffee as a mere product to be sold. Italian coffee purists couldn't fathom Starbucks' offering and wondered why anyone needed a venti-sized coffee or a pumpkin spice latte when the essence of coffee lies in simplicity and quality. Starbucks faced the challenge of fierce competition from local Italian cafes. These establishments have perfected the art of espresso making for generations, honing their skills in sourcing the finest beans. Italians value the expertise and craftsmanship of their baristas, who can flawlessly extract a velvety shot of espresso with just the right amount of crema. In such a coffee-saturated market, Starbucks struggled to make a dent in the hearts of espresso-loving Italians. Italy is a country where a quick espresso at the bar costs just €1 or $2, and Starbucks' premium pricing only left Italians raising their eyebrows in disbelief. In the end, Starbucks' attempt to conquer Italy proved to be an uphill battle, and by 2020, the company announced the closure of its flagship location in Milan. Now imagine a group of Starbucks baristas gathered in a top-secret coffee lab, donning lab coats like coffee-crazed scientists. In a moment of divine inspiration, someone suggests, "Hey, why not mix coffee with olive oil?" And just like that, olive oil coffee, aka oleato, was born in Italy in February 2023. It was like discovering a secret passage between two unrelated worlds. As Starbucks heavily marketed oleato, including the olive oil used in its preparation, it quickly became a subject of controversy. Critics emerged and expressed their opinions on social media regarding this new concoction. Some people said it's nice, and giving olive oil while tasting like greasy coffee, which I find downright bizarre for a coffee. Others didn't find it appealing at all, as some called it a diarrhea-inducing disaster. Ouch. Nutritionists equally expressed concerns about oleato, warning people of the potential caloric catastrophe that came with adding olive oil to coffee. So if you're someone watching your waistline, oleato is one perilous treat you don't want to try. Starbucks has long portrayed itself as a socially conscious company, committed to ethical sourcing, reducing waste, and addressing climate change. While they were initially a great champion for fair trade coffee usage, which positively impacted the coffee industry, as they continued to grow, they abandoned this in favor of a more corporate-friendly in-house certification, the Coffee and Farmer Equity Practices, or CAFE Practices Program. This program was developed along with Conservation International. While this is technically a third-party verification, Conservation International has a history of greenwashing for large companies and their own series of controversies, including plans to help an arms company improve their green PR. Yikes! Many critics have accused Starbucks of greenwashing, pointing out inconsistencies between its marketing rhetoric and actual practices. One key area of contention is the ubiquitous disposable cups used by Starbucks. While the company introduced reusable cups and offered a small discount for customers who brought their own, the vast majority of drinks are still served in single-use containers. In 2008, the company announced an ambiguous goal to make all of its cups recyclable by 2015. However, Starbucks failed to achieve this target by the designated deadline. Critics argue that Starbucks used the recyclability claim as a greenwashing tactic, giving the false impression of environmental responsibility. Traditional Starbucks cups are lined with polyethylene plastic, making them difficult, if not impossible, to recycle. Shockingly, Starbucks uses over 8,000 paper cups per minute, amounting to over 4 billion cups annually. This rampant consumption also leads to the harvesting of approximately 1.6 million trees each year to meet the demand for these single-use cups.